Hello, walls.
Willie Nelson is by any measure one of the greatest songwriters who ever lived. Here are top songs you didn't know Willie Nelson wrote.
Crazy, I'm crazy.
This isn't just a list. They tell the story of a man who gave pieces of himself away for $40. He gave the songs away and watched other people become legends while he was a struggling artist. Grab a drink and let's get right into it. Nightlife, Ray Price, 1962.
Hanging round. Oh, the nightlife.
Picture Fort Worth, Texas, 1960. A young man is sitting at a kitchen table with a guitar he can barely afford, writing songs that nobody wants to buy. His name is Willie Nelson. He is broke, genuinely, desperately broke. He's been washing cars, selling Bibles door to door, sweeping floors at a local radio station just to stay warm. But at night, always at night, he writes. And one particular evening, he finishes a song. He calls it Nightlife.
Mine is just another scene.
The melody is smoky and slow. The lyric cuts like a knife. When the evening sun goes down, you will find me hanging round. It's the sound of loneliness that's learned to dance with itself. Willie tries to sell it, nobody bites. So he sells it outright, no royalties, no future stake, to a local musician named Paul Buskirk for $40.
Oh, the nightlife ain't no good life.
$40. Buskirk flips it almost immediately to Ray Price, one of the biggest stars in country music. Price records it. It becomes a standard, a classic, a song that will be covered more than 30 times by artists ranging from B.B. King to Aretha Franklin.
Of old used to be.
Willie Nelson sees almost none of it, but here's what most people don't know. Decades later, Willie gets the rights back. He records his own version, and when he sings it now, with 70 years of living behind him, it sounds like he always owned it. Because he did. Some things, no matter how many times you sell them, always belong to you.
Once more.
Up next, a song that launched one of country music's greatest careers, and the man who wrote it wasn't even invited to the recording session. Funny How Time Slips Away, Billy Walker, 1961.
Oh, I guess that
Willie Nelson wrote this song the same year he wrote Nightlife, the same year he was selling Bibles. Think about that. In a single 12-month stretch, a man with no money, no record deal, and no guarantee of any future whatsoever, wrote two of the most perfectly constructed songs in the history of American music.
it's been so long now. And
Funny How Time Slips Away is a masterpiece of restraint. A man runs into an old lover. He's casual, he's cool, he says all the right things. But underneath every polished sentence is an ocean of unspoken heartbreak.
never know when I'll be back.
Oh, it's been so long now, but it seems like it was only yesterday. The trick of the song, the genius of it, is that the narrator never admits he still loves her. He doesn't have to. You hear it in every word he doesn't say.
What I tell you.
Billy Walker records it in 1961. It becomes a hit, but the song truly finds its audience when Elvis Presley covers it in 1970. When Elvis sings it, it stops being a country song and becomes something older, something universal. A hymn to every moment that passed before you knew it was precious. Few fans realize that Willie himself didn't record his definitive version until years after it had already made other men famous. That's the thing about great songwriting.
Ain't it funny how time.
The song doesn't need you to survive. It just needs to exist. But the next story, number 8, is about a song that saved a career. And the man who wrote it didn't know that until years later.
Slips away.
Hello Walls, Farron Young, 1961.
Hello, walls.
Farron Young was a superstar. He had the looks of a movie idol, the voice of a fallen angel, and a stage presence that could fill any room in America. But by 1961, he needed a hit, the kind of hit that reminds the industry and yourself that you still matter.
Don't you miss her?
Willie Nelson shows up at his door with a song. He plays it once. Farron Young, by multiple accounts, laughs, not because it's bad, because it sounds crazy. "Hello, walls. How'd things go for you today?" A man, abandoned by the woman he loves, begins talking to his walls, his ceiling, his window. It sounds like a novelty song, a joke. Young records it anyway, almost as an afterthought. It goes to number 1. It spends 12 weeks at the top of the Billboard country charts. It becomes one of the best-selling country singles of the entire decade.
Hello, Wenda. Well,
And Willie Nelson? He uses his share of the royalties to finally move to Nashville, to stop washing cars, to begin the career that would eventually make him one of the most iconic human beings alive. Hello Walls didn't just save Farron Young's career. It launched Willie Nelson's. Here's what most people don't know. Farron Young, for all his fame, died tragically in 1996, alone, struggling, largely forgotten by a new generation.
won't you bear with me a while? We've got all.
But every time someone plays Hello Walls, he's back, laughing, singing, filling up a room, and the next song on our list. It should have been the beginning. Instead, for the artist who recorded it, it was almost the end.
Or else I'll lose my mind.
Crazy, Patsy Cline, 1961.
Crazy, I'm crazy.
We have to talk about Crazy, not because it needs an introduction, but because the story of how Willie Nelson's most famous composition nearly wasn't recorded by Patsy Cline is one of the most consequential near misses in the history of music.
And then someday,
Willie writes the song in 1961. He records a rough demo himself, singing it in his own unmistakable style, with that slightly behind-the-beat phrasing he'd been developing his whole life. He pitches it to Patsy Cline's producer, Owen Bradley. Bradley loves it immediately. But Patsy Cline hates it. She thinks it's too slow, too strange, too jazzy, not country enough. She wants nothing to do with it.
worry.
This is the moment where Crazy almost disappears forever. Then fate intervenes in the cruelest way imaginable. Patsy Cline is in a near-fatal car accident. She breaks her ribs, her hip, her wrist. She nearly dies. While she's recovering, barely able to stand, Owen Bradley sets up a microphone at the studio. She records the vocal in one take, leaning against the studio wall for support, cracked ribs and all.
What in the world did I?
The voice you hear on that record, that fragility, that ache, that sense of someone singing from somewhere beyond ordinary pain, that wasn't just performance. That was a woman who had just looked at death and was still standing.
Do I let myself worry?
Crazy becomes the most played jukebox song in history. Patsy Cline dies in a plane crash less than 2 years later. She is 30 years old. Willie Nelson still performs Crazy. He has never once said it without his voice catching somewhere in the middle. The next story is quieter than Crazy, but in some ways, even more heartbreaking.
For trying and crazy for crying.
Pretty Paper, Roy Orbison, 1963.
Pretty ribbons of blue.
This one starts on a sidewalk in Fort Worth. Willie Nelson is walking through downtown during the holiday shopping rush when he sees him. A man, disabled, unable to walk, sitting on the cold pavement selling pencils and wrapping paper. Shoppers stream past him without stopping. Without looking, Willie stops. He watches. And something in the image breaks his heart so completely that by the time he gets home, the song is already written. Pretty paper, pretty ribbons of blue, wrap your presents to your darling from you.
Wrap your presents to your darling.
On the surface, it's a Christmas song, but underneath, it's something far older and far sadder. It's a meditation on invisibility, on the people who exist right in front of us that we choose not to see.
Crowded streets and busy feet.
Roy Orbison records it in 1963. It becomes a holiday classic. Willie records his own version years later. But here's what most people don't know. That man on the sidewalk in Fort Worth? Willie tried to find out who he was. He never could. A stranger on the street who never knew a song was written about him.
I love you.
A song that 60 years later still plays every December in living rooms, shopping malls, and radio stations around the world. He never knew. Some legacies get built without anyone asking permission.
Downtown shoppers, Christmas.
Willie Nelson is, by any measure, one of the greatest songwriters who ever lived. But the songs on this list tell a different story than the one we usually tell about greatness. They tell the story of a man who gave pieces of himself away for $40, for a chance, for a friend, for a stranger on a cold sidewalk. He gave the songs away and watched other people become legends. And then, slowly, on his own impossible terms, in his own impossible way, he became one too.
I just never took the time